Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Dean Rogers. Welcome back to the Dean Rogers Show. Today, we got another very special guest, Mr. Josh DeShong. What's up, Josh?
What's up, Dean? Thanks for having me, man.
Of course, man. Dude, I'm stoked to get into your story here and dive in. There's just going to be a lot of juicy nuggets. For those of you that don't know Josh, he's done over three billy in residential transactions, from brokerage, flipping, and wholesale. That's a lot of deals. Yeah, you guys wholesale over 400 homes annually. That's a lot of deals. Your brokerage team does over 500 homes annually. You've flipped hundreds. You own 45 rentals. And you're building Trelly Marketplace to connect to investors and deals. So you're just, doing a couple things.
I haven't squinted to bite off more than I can chew, man.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So super impressive, man. Super awesome. I know when we connected at a mastermind recently, I'm like, dude, you are just a cool dude. Regardless of what you've done. Like, I didn't even actually know all these things before we jumped on today, but just a cool dude. For those that want to connect with Josh on Instagram, make sure you do it. Josh DeShong RE. You can find him there on Instagram. So, dude, let's just dive right in. Let's get into the juicy nuggets and talk about your story, how you kind of got into real estate, and then we'll break it down from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I was. It's a silly way to come about it, but I was 17. I was working for my dad, and I was calling on. He owned a furniture business selling commercial furniture. And so I would call on various businesses that were moving into the area. And one day I was in the Dallas Business Journal looking for, new moves and recent sales. And this article about how great housing was and how great these residential real estate shops were doing piqued my interest. And I was like, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. And that was like '06, right? So like impeccable timing. Now that we've, hindsight's 2020. '06 was a good time, but it was the end of good times. So yeah, I begged my mom to put my real estate classes on her credit card, and I jumped in as a real estate agent. And then shortly after a few years, one thing I did in the beginning was I would ask a lot of people for help and advice. And over the years, I was able to build one of the top teams in the United States, ranked in the top 20 for Keller Williams, later in the top 5. And in 2012, a mentor of mine said, you either need to build products or you need to acquire assets. You need to stop focusing so much on services because services are tough to scale. And that really really resonated. That hit home, and it kind of freaked me out a little bit because I had just gone out and built this business as a real estate agent, and I didn't have assets. I didn't have a product. I hadn't productized my business. So in 2012, almost immediately after getting that advice, I bought 2 properties, one of which I still live in to this day. It was supposed to be a flip, and I decided to move in. And the other was a home run of a flip. The following year, it was 34 or something like that. The next year, it was over 100, and it just started scaling really fast. Predominantly, I was fixing and flipping. I was not wholesaling. I didn't wholesale until really later in my career. And I was dealing with being an agent / team leader, flipping houses, managing contractors, we had employees that were, W-2 foremen that would just not show up, never heard from them again. Right. And that was a little bit of a nightmare. And fast forward a couple years, we actually developed a software that enabled investors to acquire real estate off of the MLS quickly. And that was a big deal at the time. This is probably 2016. That software sold out in 27 markets. across the United States. And then 2017, 2018, we decided that we were so good at finding deals, but we weren't good at managing renovations. That just wasn't our bread and butter. And so what we decided to do was to cease investing as a company. And we started focusing solely on wholesaling property. So I think I went like the other way, like a lot of people start wholesaling because they want to become flippers, and then flippers want to become landlords. I kind of did the opposite. I was a flipper, then I became a wholesaler, and then I happened to have rental properties on properties I decided not to sell, right? So so 2017 started wholesaling. We launched our brand, Myers Home Buyers, in the Dallas market. The reason it's called Myers is because it rhymes with buyers. It was between that and Schmitty buys shitty houses, so we went with Myers. So we have our wholesale brand at this point, Myers Home Buyers, focused on wholesaling good properties, good deals. We don't mark our stuff up to crazy numbers. We're not coming up with hypothetical ARVs. And fast forward to 2019 or so, and myself and a few partners were discussing the real estate investing market, because it's evolved so much over the years, and it's starting to gain or grow teeth as an actual investment vehicle. And one of the things we noticed was there is no exchange. There is no place where investors can buy. They can buy from maybe auction.com, but that's only one type of inventory.
Right.
But there is nowhere to centrally buy from wholesalers. And so we came up with the idea to launch what is now our other product, which is Trelly, and it's a distressed marketplace for wholesalers to connect their deals to investors. And that's actually how Myers sells 100% of our inventory, is through our Trelly marketplace today. There's over 20,000 people using it to buy property, and it's the product side of things is a little different than the asset side of things, but it's been a hell of a learning experience.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Yeah, so at a high level, that's what you got. I can make the story longer or shorter.
Well, what I find interesting is we actually have like a really unique parallel with how we got going in our journey. So my first year I did start with wholesaling, but then I got into flipping for the next, half a dozen years. So I was flipping, and I came to the same conclusion. We're really good at finding deals, but doing a ton of flips at a time, flipping 20 houses at a time plus, like that just wasn't our strong suit. And, you go over budget, you go over time, you're dealing with all these logistics, but I'm sure you realize we're really good at finding deals. Let's go to wholesaling. So we went back to wholesaling, and we found ourselves in the same place. Like, we're really good at finding good deals, selling them at good prices. And that's our strong suit. And so was it just strictly the fact that you guys weren't good at that, or was there anything else that you kind of encountered along the journey of flipping a bunch of houses that just said, I don't want to do this anymore?
No, it was really that I bit off more than I could chew. And I have a tendency to do that, if you can't tell from all the different entities I'm in. I bite off a lot. I take on a lot. I think that I'm invincible and can do anything. But at this point in our business, it was not physically possible. It was, if I did a good job managing the contractors, I would do a bad job finding deals or managing my team to find deals, right? So it was really a trade-off. And then the other thing too was, from a wholesaling perspective, the velocity of my capital returned was unbeatable. If you on a wholesale, if you do a ROI analysis, I mean, and we do a double close on everything. We don't do any assignments, and so are very, very assignments. So
and why is that?
It's totally legal. There's no question that there's no chance of actually ever going through the investigative process with a real estate commission because we're always a party to a transaction. Title insurance operates a lot better if somebody scams us out of, a seller says that they're so and so, but they're actually not.
Mm-hmm.
If I assign that contract, there's a chance that the person who purchases it, their title insurance will sue us. So, assuming there's a claim, right? So,
Yeah.
that being said, I mean, we just did the double close. It made sense. It was simple. It sucks because we pay a little bit more for it, but I
Right.
can sleep a little bit easier knowing that like we're doing it in a very buttoned up way.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, yeah.
So you realize you're good at finding deals. Let's grow that. Did you have to change the way that your company looked like at that point, like in terms of the employees and who was doing what and marketing? Like, did you have to get rid of the contractor guys and hire more acquisitions, or what did that look like?
Yeah, yeah. So we had a couple of acquisition team members, but we didn't have a sales team or an investor relations team. So we quickly had to build a small sales team. We call them sales associates or disposition associates, and we did that very, very quickly. And once we started getting the pipeline going full with deal flow, they were able to get traction really quick. Now, mind you, this is 2017, 2018 timeframe. So this is a really good time in this industry. So it's like you threw a rock, you hit a real estate investor. Right? Like moving our deals wasn't a problem, especially because we bought everything and we still buy everything. Like we're gonna flip it ourselves. And that way there's never a scenario where, last minute at the closing table, the homeowner or the investor who's buying it says, never mind. And then we leave the homeowner holding the bag. We've always made it a priority to close on properties that we said we would. So we buy the home as if it's an investment we're gonna make. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of how we hedge it. So yeah, we rebranded. The company was called DFW Home Buyers, but a former partner of mine went out and created like DFW Fast Home Buyers. And so we rebranded, and that's why Myers, like I said, it rhymes with buyers. But I was thinking to myself, I was like, nobody could replicate this and not feel awkward about it. So so
Yeah.
yeah, so we rebranded everything. We came up with uniforms. We had like all of our acquisitions people wear a specific outfit to go meet with a homeowner. We have presentations, and yeah, we really had to rethink everything because then it became a game of, on some of your flips, you can do some extra finishes and that will just cause that thing to sell really quick, right?
Right. Right.
Well, when you don't, and it'll cause it to also go into a bidding war, sell it for more than you thought. But when you don't have that upside that happens from time to time that you weren't anticipating, you have to get better at managing expenses. You have to get better at managing your marketing dollars. You have to get more refined on those things. So we put a lot of investment into technology on our back end to make sure that we are not overpaying for marketing. We're not doing things in a unproductive way.
Yeah. Well, you got me excited once you were talking about your process. Sounds like it's super intentional and very, very thought out. So walk us through your process. Like you touched on a little bit about, the outfit, the uniform. So maybe tie in the branding and then what your guys' process looks like.
Yeah, it is very thoughtful. It's very intentional, but it's very simple. And so all of our people wear a polo with khakis or jeans. We don't do suits around here. I They go out, they meet with the homeowner, they have a consultation. We explain all options. So all of our people are licensed real estate agents. That we do not take listings, but they are licensed. So that helps keep everybody in check, right? Like it's a licensee is less likely to go in and just lie to a seller. So they go in, they give the seller all the different options, and we find out what their goals are. That's usually done over the phone. But it also happens again when we sit down. We find out what their goals, what their objectives are. And we are not going to push a homeowner in a direction that is not a win-win. And that's one thing I think is very counterintuitive, that most wholesalers don't do. Is we're looking at saying, hey, if you decide an investor is your best route, we want to be the ones you choose, but let us help you work through this problem, and maybe we can come up with another solution if this doesn't make sense. And we win because we care. We win because we lead with what's best for them. So assuming we can come up with a deal, and mind you, we have all kinds of back-end processes from lead routing, who's getting our leads, how we set appointments, things like that. But once we go under contract with a homeowner, usually, and I assume you guys in California, you have an inspection period, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So during your inspection period, we hold something somewhat like an auction. It's not an auction though, because we don't always go with the highest bidder. Like sometimes the highest bidder will win by $100, but they're using hard money lending. And it was their first transaction, right? So, so we run something like an auction. We do it on our Trelly platform. We will also go to a lot of the homes and open them up for an hour before the end of the auction. And we collect bids that way. We say, hey, put your best foot forward, highest and best. And that's how we get bids. We charge anywhere from a $5,000 to $10,000 non-refundable deposit that has to be made immediately. If there's a delay or a lag in getting it, then we can go to the next person in line. But it's very, very simple. One of our brokers here is the contract to close manager. So she's on top of everybody on making sure we're using the right addendas. We're buttoned up, man.
Yeah. So in terms of part of your process there, when you have the buyers come through, I got two questions. So how do you set that up with the seller? How do you let them know, hey, we need to have people come through? Because you might have told them you're buying it, but now you've got people coming through. So who are these people that need to come through and see it? And so I'll start there.
Yeah, great question. We tell them that it's our investment partners. We explain that, sometimes we move deals to other people. Oftentimes we move deals to other companies. But at the end of the day, when we are giving an offer, we're going to close on it. And even if that investor were to back out, we're going to close on that transaction. And that's why we don't really go into much more detail than that. But we just explain, hey, we're going to have some investment partners come out, look at the house, and we'll go from there. And you would think you would get a lot of pushback, but we don't get any.
Do you feel like any of the buyers that you have come through there kind of mess things up by trying to talk too much or talk to the sellers or anything like that?
1 in every 200 or so will try to talk directly to the seller. Every now and then we'll get somebody that tries to like circumvent us around the deal. Mm-hmm. But we actually haven't. I cannot remember the last time we lost to circumvention or lost a deal because of what the investors have done. We tell all of our investors, like, hey, if the homeowner's there, do not talk to them. Talk to your sales associate. Ask them any questions you have. But sometimes a new investor that hasn't bought from us before wasn't listening when they were told that, and they'll walk up to the seller and start asking questions. So it does happen, but it's relatively rare, and it usually does not result in any actual net loss.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing you said there that resonated so much with me is we win so much because we care. It's so underestimated, the value of just genuinely showing up to a conversation and finding out how you can help that person. That's the secret sauce in most cases, because most people are a bull in a china shop, man. They show up, yeah, how much do you want? I can close on this deal, and they just don't have those soft skills. And it's just showing up and genuinely being curious how you can help that person is what gets you the deal at the end of the day.
Yeah. Lead with that. It's hard for a lot of people in our industry, and I get it, but if you lead with that, you're good. Like put buying the house as a second priority, and you're good.
Yeah. So what's your guys', to be doing the number of deals you guys are doing, what's the size of your guys' team?
So we have 5 acquisitions associates, 6, 7 dispositions associates. They're interacting with about 20,000 buyers. So we try to keep our buyers database updated, like when people are in the market, when they're not, when they go unresponsive, we remove them. But we're talking to nearly all of those people at least once a year.
Okay. So you guys really work those relationships then with the buyers in terms of like staying in touch with them, in terms of selling the deals. There's probably a lot of outreach when it comes to a new deal and reaching out. Do you guys do all the email blast stuff, all the text blast, and then on top of that call, or what's your process for that?
We do email and call. Text is one of those things that we've experimented with it. We're still experimenting with it, but it's not built into our business practice yet. Mm-hmm. It pisses a lot of people off. So we haven't really been able to figure out how to get that working just yet. But yeah, we have an internal system that we can type an address into, and it will tell us all of the most likely investors in a given area. And it gives us all their contact info, all of that stuff. There's tools out there that are public. Ours is just something we built internally that do similar things.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds like a good tool to have. And obviously, playing with the text thing. I know that we text our investors, and it came out of the fact that I wouldn't say a lot, I don't know the percentage, but a certain percentage of them would say, can you just text me? Just text me, because I'm running around. I'm not checking my emails. Just text me. Right. So that works for some. For others, it doesn't. Right. If you're sending out as many deals as you are a month, maybe that many text messages from one person would kind of piss you off,
Yeah, well, our team can text. They can text people that they're familiar with. Like if you've had a face-to-face with somebody, you're welcome to text them. And again, we're not totally against texting, so we're definitely playing with it. We have a Kixie account. I don't know if you've heard of that one, and we have launch control. But it's just not something that we've been able to make work in terms of acquisition of new investors, not yet, at least. I'm working on it though. I need to take some notes from you.
It sounds like what you're doing is working. So, well, dude, let's wrap it up with something I thought was insanely cool. You had something you told me was your principles, your leadership principles, and sharing those with your kids. Yeah. If you want to break those down for us, we could end with that. And I think those would be super valuable for the listeners.
Yeah. So what I did a couple of years ago was I started keeping a long list of rules that I adhere to, and I believe are very I've just lessons I've learned over the years. So first one is don't trust a liar. I think that one's pretty obvious, but most people need to hear that in the moment of about when they're right before they're about to trust a liar. So, yeah. Leaders must be willing to do all jobs, not some. So this one's been really interesting over the years. I've hired many people, and the most natural leaders that people will follow into battle, there is nothing that they won't do in a company. The ones that typically want the bureaucracy or the title, there's lots of things they will not do in a company. It dawned on me one day, actually. I was at the office on a Saturday and I started doing dishes. And it was normal. It wasn't even a thing. I didn't even consider that I was doing the dishes, but I just realized like all the times people had said they weren't doing that, or all the times they didn't do that. And it just hit me. So there is no magic wand. So I think a lot of like entrepreneurs, real estate investors, real estate agents, we all think that we're going to find out about this one tool or this one thing, and the basics work. There is no magic wand. There is not one thing you can do that will all of a sudden catapult you to this crazy level. It is doing lots of things right day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
Success often and usually, in my opinion, requires some kind of failure. You have to fail at something. It's not all about success. Embrace the pain. Do the hardest stuff first. Adapt or die. Like, I think all of those are I think you can relate probably from your business and your prior career, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you have to lean into the pain if you ever actually want to get better, right?
Oh yeah.
Always admit when you make a mistake and learn. So often people will point fingers. They'll do something wrong, or maybe it's a combination of two people not doing something together, but they'll point fingers at the other. And really, it's just easier to just say, you know what, shouldn't have gone that way. My bad. Apologies. Move on.
Yeah. So good.
I typically have done the opposite of what's been conventional. I've found, so, I'm a high school, college dropout, and I learn differently. I learn differently than most people do. I could not learn in a school setting in the same way. And so my entire career is unconventional. And so I've just found that here's a perfect example. In March, April of 2020, I went out on a buying spree. I went buying every single thing I could, investing in every company that had just crashed. And most people weren't. Most people were scared. They were, what's COVID? Oh, the world's going to end now. And my thesis on that was, well, if the world's going to end, then I guess losing money doesn't matter if I'm wrong. So, it's worked out quite a bit for me. What makes some people great and not others? This one's very, very, like, I literally say this probably week to week, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it'll go through life thinking it's stupid. That's an Einstein quote. So often we expect, a salesperson to become a manager, and what makes someone good at sales doesn't necessarily make them good at management. We want this person to fill this role, and then we get upset when they're not doing a good job. And it's like, well, is that the right person? If it's not the right person to begin with, you shouldn't go there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, those are just some of them, but yeah, these are things I try to keep at top of mind at almost all times.
Yeah. I think those are some words of wisdom, some insights that you've gained over the years, and so many of those, if not every single one to a T, resonate with me through and through, because there's just so much wisdom and truth to it. So, dude, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Thanks for diving into your story and sharing some nuggets. Again, for everybody that wants to connect with Josh, you guys can do that on Instagram at Josh DeShong RE. You can connect with them there. And dude, thanks so much for everything. And until next time, peace.
Absolutely. See ya.